What is up, people of the internet? This is Brownstone and Luke Catwalker coming to you with another video. And both our voices are scratchy because of the last video. Yeah, we're doing 2 videos in one day because we felt like it and we have the time. So, now that we've established that, these videos will premiere weeks apart. The mega review is gonna premiere on August 5th, and this one's gonna premiere a week after. As for the movies, I don't know. Depends if you all are interested. But anyway, we're gonna be talking about the second highest voted video in our community post. That's why I love MCU Phase 4. Oh, this is going to tick off a lot of people. So it's no surprise that MCU Phase 4 is a pretty divisive phase of the MCU. Like it's no contest. Eternals got poor reviews. Multiverse of Madness got hated on. Thor: Love and Thunder really got hated on. And, yeah. People are falling out of love with the MCU. And this is gonna be the counter video to that. All those videos that trash MCU Phase 4, pay no attention to them, because we're here to give you the opposite opinion. Obviously, if you hate the MCU Phase 4 after this video, nothing against you, really. Just, if you happen to be open-minded, maybe this video will convince you to give them another chance. So this isn't going to be, as long as the last one. We just want to get, the primary reason as to why we love MCU Phase 4. It's doing something different. Now, for the longest time, people have been pretty much on Marvel's case, because Marvel has pretty much developed this formula. Yeah, a formula that's pretty generic at this point. I mean, there's this big epic, there's this big threat that threatens to end the world, and then these heroes have to come together and save it, and they equip their lives away while the threat approaches. And, well, that's fine. That's fine. I can tell why people are pretty much tired of it. So, in comes MCU Phase 4, and it does something different. While we still have the world-ending threat, it's more director-driven. That's the primary reason why we like it. You can form your own opinions about the movies if you want. The review, the mega review is gonna, has our thoughts on the recent MCU movies, and you can come to your own minds about that. But really, for a long time, the MCU movies have felt kind of the same. I mean, what are we to talk? We've skipped half of the MCU, but we did watch we did watch a lot of clips from previous movies in preparation for this for both of these videos. So, yeah, it's no surprise that since the inclusion of Joss Whedon and the Avengers, the MCU movies have been very samey. Yeah, and add to Brownstone's point, we have these movies that don't really look good cinematically. I mean, aside from maybe Infinity War and Endgame, we have the majority of the smaller MCU movies. They don't really look that good with the cinematography. I mean, and they don't really try anything new. It's mainly just stay in the same old comfort zone. We have all these bright colors, high saturation, and lots of goofy jokes and all that stuff. The main reason why we think that the MCU Phase 4 is good is because it's trying something different. It's testing the waters. It started with Eternals, which didn't really get that good of a reception. We haven't seen Eternals yet. We plan to. Maybe we'll do a review on that in the future. But really, the MCU Phase 4 is good simply because it's testing new ground. And the movies, they're trying out new things. With these new MCU movies, you can really feel the director. With Eternals, you can feel Chloe Zhao. Oh, kinda. In the clips that I've seen of Eternals, it looks really good. I mean, really, really good. Good visual wise. Multiverse of Madness was very Sam Raimi, and even Thor: Love and Thunder had I'm losing that. Takai Waititi. I totally butchered that. It got his name. It has his signature style in it. It's got more jokes. It's got all that. And although the majority of the movies were cut, the majority of the movie was cut. It's still enjoyable how it is. Really, I agree. And the fact that and the fact that they're really expanding opportunities for these characters. We by now we already know that the MCU is going towards Secret Wars, which is this big, larger than life multiverse event bigger than the Infinity Saga, and yeah, I say they done really well. Like starting with Loki, which kicked off the multiverse saga, which this is called. It's called the MCU Phase 4 has done a wonderful job at establishing the multiverse and those who may threaten it. With Multiverse of Madness, we had the Scarlet Witch who tried to who didn't care if she caused any hurt or not. She just wanted her boys, and she was willing to kill America Chavez to do it. With Loki, we had like the Loki variant, killing He Who Remains and unleashing the multiverse and stuff. With Spider-Man No Way Home, we had we had Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland come together to fight off classic villains. And honestly, I think that the MCU is headed in a very good direction. Unlike what the majority of people say with Phase 4, or it's not as bad as people think. People claim that it is. Are there problems? Yes, there are. The main problem we have with MCU Phase 4 is because Marvel has DC syndrome, and with DC syndrome, well, it's well documented about the behind the scenes drama behind the theatrical cut of Justice League. How the runtime was cut, it was streamlined, and all that. There was no gross and unprofessional behavior and stuff, because I don't think Disney would allow that on their films and stuff. But because it would be leaked sooner or later. Honestly, the closest thing to a huge drama they had was Mulan, and I don't think they're pulling that again. So yeah, the main problem we have with the MCU Phase 4 is that, well, all the movies have been cut down. With the fact that Eternals was, I think the reason why that happened was because Eternals was quoted as like, quote unquote, too long. So maybe that's what started Marvel on this trend of cutting down the movies' runtimes. Honestly, it needs to stop, because now people are demanding director's cuts, which didn't really end up happening before. And honestly, we'll support all these movements for director's cuts, because, well, release the Snyder Cut was successful, so why not see director's cuts of other superhero movies, right? # release the Raimi cut. So, yeah. Yeah, despite this, I think the MCU is headed. We think that the MCU is headed in a really, really good direction. Because you feel more the personality of the director in these movies. And if this is where Marvel is headed, I think they're headed in a really, really, really positive direction. They're closer than ever before to rectifying the criticisms people have had with their previous works. The criticism of the previous phases was that they all felt the same, that they were all too generic and stuff. Now, I think we're headed towards an era of the MCU where the MCU movies can feel like real, actual movies, where you can feel the director's presence, their mark, their stamp on movies. I personally love movies that have the director's signature style in them. With Zack Snyder's movies, you can feel the personality of Snyder in his movies. Even in the theatrical cut of Justice League, the parts where Snyder's stuff made it in, you can feel where you can feel his personality. And with Whedon scenes, you don't. Because it's Joss Whedon. And he doesn't have much of a personality in general. But with about the Snyder scenes that made it in, you can feel it. And with the director's cut of Justice League, the Snyder cut, you can definitely feel Snyder in every single frame of the film. You can feel it in Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and in 300. You can feel Snyder's director style in every film he's directed. And this is what many of us want from the MCU. We want movies where we can feel the kind of stories that the director wants to tell. We can feel that they've made their mark on the film. We don't want to feel that that all the MCU films are just made in a factory. I think High Top Films or Film Speak, like I think High Top Films said it best. That they were shot in a basement with Mysterio's drones. Honestly, that's the best way to describe it. Obviously, the MCU films pre-MCU Phase 4 are awesome. From what we've seen in the previous ones before Infinity War and Endgame, they're cool. They're cool, definitely. But we have to applaud Marvel for really going down this route and taking risks. Because taking risks is what ultimately makes good filmmaking. You don't just achieve success by just doing the same thing. And the same thing. Now I hear like many of you are gonna probably tell us, oh, but Infinity War and Endgame were extremely successful. Endgame made $1 billion. Well, yeah, it did. That's because it was a really great story, and it really had. And even before the director driven, like Infinity War and Endgame existed in a class of their own. It was this really, really deep and complex story about redemption, bringing all the heroes back from the blip, and Infinity War was this huge ballsy story which ended in Thanos snapping away half the universe, which is something we never thought the MCU would do. Infinity War and Endgame were great because they took risks. And now that the MCU is taking more risks, we need to applaud them for it. We don't want to constantly hate on them, because if we do that, they're going to go back to their old ways. Because money ultimately speaks. If they don't get money from letting the directors do their thing, they're going to go back to doing the same old thing. And while that's fine, I don't think it's ultimately as interesting as feeling the director in every frame of the movie. Eternals, Multiverse of Madness, and even Thor: Love and Thunder to an extent, and you can feel the director behind them. And that's what we want to see more of. We love the MCU Phase 4 because it's revolutionizing the MCU. It's bringing it up to speed, and it's testing new waters, new ideas, and ultimately taking risks is what filmmakers should do. And that's why we love the MCU Phase 4, simply because it's trying something new. You can you can have your opinions on their movies all they want, but you can't deny that what Phase 4 is doing is extremely extraordinary. And being filmmakers ourselves, we should support that, regardless of what the movies turn out to be. If the movie is bad, then let it be bad. At least it's the director's full, honest vision. And so, that's why we love the MCU Phase 4. Now, obviously, we're probably going to get a lot of hate with this video, and we're prepared for it. So, yeah, come our way if you want to. You're free to disagree with us. Just please do it civilly. If you don't feel like doing it civilly, then, well, don't be surprised if your comment gets deleted. Okay? With that being said, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to be updated on future content. And you could always change your mind later, but you wouldn't want to do that, right? Oh, maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. See ya.